Welcome back to the Your Girl Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. Hey guys, and welcome back to my first episode on the podcast in Thailand. If you're watching this, you might have just seen like a little boat go past and you might see the sea in the background. I'm currently in Koh Lanta. It's 222 as we speak. I had a bit of a nightmare trying to set up the podcast today. Like I kept trying and it just wouldn't work. And it happened the other day as well. I tried to record the first episode back and I was in this like little floating bungalow and I basically needed to check out, and the ladies kept coming in when I was recording the episode. They just kept walking into my room and were like, when do you need your taxi? So it just didn't work out, and I was like, do you know what, I'll try again when I'm somewhere new. And I'm staying in a really nice space right now. It's honestly like a massive room with like an office area. I'm currently sat on my little table and chairs, and it's so beautiful because it overlooks the sea. And I have had such a ride of a journey since I got to Thailand, and I wanted to do a little episode today, sort of telling you all about my journey so far, telling you what it's like living abroad and working on my laptop and traveling around. I am quite an open-minded person and I do say yes a lot. So I have just been not juggling, but just making sure that I am showing up in my business, showing up as the CEO I want to be, and then also having fun and experiencing new things and meeting new people. So it's been a journey so far balancing it all. But right now, I am generally so happy. Like having my own space and having like somewhere really big and like just feeling a bit more high quality. I feel like myself again because when me and my friend were traveling for the first 2 weeks, like every 2 days I was moving around. I went to Bangkok, Phuket, Koh Lanta. This isn't in order because I can't remember. Koh Phi Phi, Ayanang and Krabi, then back to Phuket because I went to Circo Loco Festival, and then came to Koh Lanta again, and I've been here for nearly a week now. I absolutely love Koh Lanta. It's such a lovely island. It's so chilled, and this time traveling feels so different for me because the first time I left England and went traveling, I was 22. I didn't have a business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just left my career in sales, and I was like, right, I'm going traveling. I got made redundant from my sales job, and I was like, well, I'm off. That's it. Let's see what happens. Had no idea the journey it was going to take me on, had no idea I was going to start a business or a podcast or end up 2.5 years later back in the same place it all started for me, Thailand, now with this beautiful business and with this life that I've built for myself. So Thailand will always be a very special place for me because it's where I had like a big awakening. I had a big sort of realization that I wanted to create a different life for myself. And it was the first place that opened my eyes that, there was a lot more people that didn't just have your typical 9 to 5. So there was a lot of people that, worked on their laptops or, created their own lives. And I worked in a hostel for 6 weeks in Thailand, and you didn't get paid, but I got like free food, accommodation, free alcohol at the time, which I was very much enjoying. And that's the thing, it just opened my eyes to like, you can do what you want. There's people that are living out here working in hostels and like just having a nice life, or there's people, teaching yoga on the beach, or there's people working from their laptops. And it just really opened my eyes to a new world. And sat here, 2.5 years later, it is such a crazy feeling. Like I stayed in a hostel for 4 days recently, and like when I was talking to people about what I do, that I'm a mindset coach, and it's like such a different world still for a lot of people, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, you're literally living the dream. So you get to like travel and work and like do what you want, and it's like, yeah. But for me, because that is so normal for me, because I surround myself with people that are traveling the world, that do have their own businesses, that are in this sort of world. For me, it just feels like the reality that I have always wanted and like created. And it is just such a special feeling. Like, I can't even tell you how special it feels to now be sat here. And I am so grateful. But at the same time, I've worked really, really hard to get here. Like, over the last 2 years, and I've been doing a lot of work with my clients at the minute around like, you have to believe in yourself when no one else will. Like, you have to, even if you had 20, 30 people around you telling you that you're crazy or that it wouldn't work, you have to stay strong, and you have to have that belief that actually I can create that life for myself. And now being able to sit here in my lovely little apartment overlooking the sea, like, I'm working like Monday to Wednesday doing calls with my clients, and then Thursday to Sunday I'm traveling and like just sort of having a bit more of a freedom life and like working out and doing different things. So yeah, it's just been such a ride. Now, it hasn't all been up. Like, there's been times where I've had, to be honest, so far in this trip, I've had a big, big experience. Like, I've been in Koh Lanta on my own for nearly a week now. And in that time, I've had a lot of letting go, a lot of like releasing. And like, when you spend time on your own, I feel like it really highlights and brings stuff to the surface, because you're not in other people's environments. You're not having other people that are telling you sort of what's right and what's wrong. You're purely going off your intuition. You're purely going off what feels right for you. And it has been such a gift to myself having this 6 days to myself, where I've really gone inwards and I've really done a lot of journaling and like really spent a lot of time just uncovering things that I'd been holding on to. And to be honest, I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself in different ways. I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself to one, fit in over here. I feel like I've kept saying that I wanted to give my 22-year-old self the experience that she wanted at the time, but I let other people get in the way of that. But I'm not 22-year-old Jazz anymore. I'm 25 this year, and I do have different dreams and different goals, and like, I maybe don't fit in so much with the, hostel backpack, that sort of life at this time in my career and business and life. I feel like I'm much more like drawn to really bettering myself and like spending my time outside of working, like exploring and reading and like getting to know myself, and also like having the time that I've never had before to learn different things. Like, I've really been trying to practice like calisthenics. I'm absolutely rubbish right now. Like, it's going to be a work in progress. But even this morning, I woke up and my arms are so sore because I was doing like little practice movements. I've also been doing my yoga every day. And like, there's just different parts of my life that I want to develop. And in order to do that, to be honest, there's been things I've had to like get honest about what I want in my experience here. And one thing is like alcohol. Like, for me, alcohol has always caused so many problems in my life, and I'm definitely going to talk more about it the further I go on my journey with like sort of cutting out alcohol and different things. But that's not what today's about. But I have had to like get really honest with myself around what's not feeling aligned right now in my life. And that's why I recommend going on a little trip on your own so highly. And that's going to be a big focus of today's episode, of like why you really should go on a solo trip, why you should really go and spend some time on your own, where you can get out in nature, you can have some time to yourself. And time, I think, is so important outdoors, where you're not like in a confined environment, where you're allowed to think big, you're allowed to create space. Like, that's been something that I've really learned on this trip. When I was living back at home in Surrey, I feel like everything's so close together and there's always so much going on and like so busy. I felt like my head felt like it was going to explode. Like, there's just so much sort of going on all the time. And I definitely feel like being out here, I've just got a lot more mental space and a lot more like ideas and creativity, and I'm not rushing anything. I feel like just being out in like an open space, and just being out in the open space just gives you a fresh perspective and allows you to open up your mind and ideas. And even this morning, it is a new moon tomorrow, and this morning I started like just going on YouTube and I was watching videos around the new moon. They just popped up, and it just gave me such a motivation to go and do like a bit of a rebrand in my business and like update my packages and my pricing. And that's because the last 5 days I've just been releasing, I've been making space, I've been letting go of things. I did like a breathwork class on Saturday where I it was with this like Swedish guy, and he was really cool actually. It was in a small little studio in Koh Lanta, and we had headphones and we had like an eye mask on, and it was for like 90 minutes, and it was full on like heavy breath work. And he said it's going to be like a marathon because it's constant. Like it was a big release, and I like screamed in it. Like there was so much going on. I was like so much I felt like I was releasing, and it was like really deep, like long inhales and exhales for an hour and a half. And the audio was like taking us through like getting really clear on what we want to let go of. And I generally could feel it. I could feel such a big body release, and you might see it in me now that I feel lighter. I feel like I have a lighter energy. And from having this time on my own all weekend, like taking walks along the beach where I'd have my headphones in and I was listening to like music that I knew was going to uplift me, and I was just being really present all weekend. I hadn't been on my phone too much apart from recording little snippets because I'm doing like little vlogs for TikTok of my trip. And I just feel like I've really reconnected with actually Yaz and who I am when all of the noise is gone. And it can feel a bit hard to uncover that because sometimes we rely on different things. Like I know for me back home, you know, I will go out and I would drink, or I would say yes to loads of plans, and like I feel like everything was just so full. Whereas now all of the noise is gone and there isn't any plans. And I knew I wanted to come to Koh Lanta because I knew I didn't know anyone here. I knew there was going to be no distractions. Like I just felt like it was such a place where I could actually just come and go, come within and like reset myself and reset my nervous system. And I can happily say I've done that. And like even coming back to the drinking thing, there was a night where I was on my way home from the beach, and I wanted to say hello to this little guy that worked in a bar. I saw him last time I was in Koh Lanta with my friend, and everyone was like, "Oh, come in, come have a drink." And I literally straight away was like, "Can you make me your best mocktail because I'm driving?" And it felt so empowering to not have that hold that alcohol sort of had, or that battle that alcohol's had. Um, in my life, and I could literally just say, right, I want a mocktail. I did stop drinking fully like 2 years ago when I lived in Australia, but then I started again when I was in England and like back in my old environment. And I think one thing I've learned as well is how much your environment, and learn again, I feel like I'm constantly learning lessons over and over again, but I come back to how important your environment is. And sometimes when you come out of your environment, you realize how many different things have been impacting you and how many different things have maybe been leaning you away from a path that you actually really want to go down. And I already feel like a different person out here. Like I just feel like I can just be me, and I can, you know, walk around barefoot if I want, and I can live off smoothies and vegetables and like really nice fresh fruit, and I can walk around smiling at people and everyone smiles back at me, which feels really nice. Whereas sometimes in the UK it is harder. But this time I'm out here, I don't have a hatred for the UK. I feel like when I left 2.5 years ago, it was a very much like escape. I need to leave. I need to get out of here. Like I need to go. Whereas now I love England. I love my family. Like I really, really do miss everyone back home. And I do find it hard sometimes, especially where I've been on my own. I'm like, oh, I miss them. But I've really come back to like everyone is rooting for me again. And this journey feels really important I'm on right now. It feels like I'm really like shedding a lot and uncovering a lot about myself. And I always want to be learning. I always want to be growing for myself, for my business, my clients. Like when you start a business, I don't think people realize how much of a personal journey you're going to go down and how much of a mindset journey you're going to have, because you have to up level in so many ways in your mindset. You have to really believe in yourself. You have to constantly be catching yourself out when you're comparing yourself or when you're doubting yourself. And that's something I've been on a massive journey on, and also help my clients with in their journeys. And it's so beautiful, and I never do want to stop this journey. I always want to keep learning and growing. This 6 days has taught me so much about who I want to be. And when I do think of the version of me I want to be this year, like at the core is like kindness and helping people and really inspiring other people to turn their dreams actually into their big realities. And I feel like I'm a living example of that. Like in 2 years, going from being the backpacker to now being back out here with a business, and a business that's growing and developing, and like having clients and hosting retreats and like having the podcast, and like knowing that nothing's going anywhere, like I'm not ever going to be given up. Things might take a different direction, and I'm going to carry on going on my own journey, but I knew from when I was younger that I was meant for something different. But different can feel scary, and that's another journey I've had to go on here. I feel like I've gone on like a lifetime of journeys, but it's in my inner confidence and like how I feel about myself. And I've had to sort of let go again of ties and like like the materialistic things that maybe we attach ourselves to in the UK. And when I'm out here again, I don't need a lot. Like I generally am happiest, with an old book on the beach, barefoot, like going for a swim. I've been practicing my swimming out here, which I'm getting better at. One thing this year is like actually getting like proven to myself that I can do things outside of business as well, not just building my confidence in my business, but trying different things. And I think sports and like things that benefit your fitness is so good. And one thing I've told myself I've struggled with was swimming. But I bought myself a pair of goggles, and they're so funny, my goggles. They're like, they've got little earbuds and everything, and they look so funny. But I have been practicing swimming like at least, once every 2 days. And it's just been so empowering, like seeing myself getting better. And the same with the yoga, I've been showing up for myself. And I definitely feel so grateful that I worked really hard to set up the support systems and set up the foundations for my life before coming out here. It has been quite stressful along the way, especially the first few weeks where I was traveling every 2 days. And, I'm someone that does like structure. Like when it comes to my business, I am quite serious. Like, when things go wrong, or like when I've had Wi-Fi issues or calls cutting out, and that has happened, I've had to really check myself and just be like, do you know what? That is part of life. Like you have to just let go. So that has been a big theme of this trip, is letting go. And letting go is something that can feel so hard, and something that's talked about a lot. It's like, just let it go, man, just let it go. But it's easier said than done. And I know this because I really try to practice what I preach. But sometimes when you're in the same environment, like back home, there's lots of things I couldn't let go of. Like I couldn't let go of the sort of having a few drinks, or I definitely slipped into habits that I didn't really want to with the drinking and things last year. And it's only when I've got myself out of that environment again, I've realised and I've made the space to let go. And that is why I would love everyone that listens to this to literally book themselves a little weekend away on their own. Like I promise you, it has so many benefits, and I'm going to go into those benefits with you because I had arranged a little part on the benefits of it. But at the same time, I really wanted to talk about like my experience and just speak from the heart and speak from how I have found this journey. I've had a bit of a start to the year where, a lot of people are like, right, new year, new me, like let's, build our business and we need to have 10 new clients. For me, it hasn't been like that. Like, to be honest, I have just been cruising along really, and just having a January where I'm just settling into a new life. I am just taking the pressure off myself in all ways, and just sort of opening up space for a new life. And sometimes we have to let go of a lot in order to welcome in our new life. And the quote that has stuck with me the most is, your new life is going to cost you your old one. Now, I had this 2 years ago. I like reinvented my whole life when I went to a self-love retreat in Bali, and I decided that I no longer wanted to carry on the self-destructive habits, and I wanted to start a new life. I didn't really think I was going to be here 2 years later again, like saying I want a new life. I generally just thought, right, I've done the work, I'm happy, that's it. But we are constantly evolving, and like I feel like it's really important to not be afraid of change and not be afraid of new and the unknown, the scary unknown. It can feel like, ooh, what's going to happen? But the unknown is so powerful, and it's so good, and it's so hard sometimes to trust that better things are coming, especially maybe when we've had a stage where things have been a bit stagnant or a bit slow, or you're not where you want to be right now, let's just say. We almost want to pivot, or we want to change things, or we have to like, we sort of feel this like fight or flight forced energy that we need to like completely drastically change our whole lives, when sometimes we actually just need a break. We need new space. We need to go and just have some time to go inwards. And I feel like that's what this journey's been about for me, is really going inwards and really decluttering and like spending time just fully on my own. Like every evening been going on little solo dates where I'll just read my book and people watch and just really embrace the time. And I just would love every single girl, especially in your 20s and 30s, to take yourself on a solo trip. Like it could be one night away. Honestly, from having 5 nights away, I feel like it has done wonders. But like, imagine booking yourself a weekend away in the Lake District, or, you know, somewhere where it's vast and it's broad and you can really spend that time on your own. And this is something I wish I did more of last year in the UK, of like actually taking myself on solo trips. I feel like I filled all of my time up with like seeing people and like doing things and busyness. And I feel like it would benefit me so much more. And definitely this year, I want to make sure that I've got like each quarter a little bit of time on my own where I spend the money, I book somewhere nice for myself, and I just allow myself to switch off. With all of my clients as well, we introduce like hours where in that hour each week they get to do whatever they want, and it really does wonders. So if you're listening to this, book yourself a solo trip, and before that comes around, give yourself an hour to yourself this week where you're fully doing something for you. I was saying to one of my clients yesterday, I feel like when it comes to self love and when it comes to doing stuff for ourselves, we all set the bar so low. Like we tell ourselves that if we give ourselves a bubble bath or we buy ourselves a coffee, that's enough for the week. Like that is all we deserve. When actually, when I've just spent this 6 days on my own, like really pouring the love into myself, saying yes to what I want, like not being afraid to go a bit deeper, I've realized that I've set the bar so low. Like, no, from now on, that is minimum. Like each week, I want to really be so intentional with my time. And when I'm not working, really allowing myself to switch off when I need to switch off, like not reaching for my phone, like trusting that whatever is meant for me is never going to pass me by. Like I know that I am on the right track. I know that the more that I do for other people, the more that I do for myself, and the more that I practice just being a good person and being kind and helping other people along the way, like everything else is going to work out. And sometimes life has a funny way of working out in like mysterious ways, as the quote is. But sometimes there are going to be things better than what we could even imagine. And if we are so focused on this one goal, like if we're so focused, let's say, on earning 5 grand a month, like really, really like all of your energy is going into that. What if there was something even better around the corner? Like, what if there was an opportunity that came up, or, you know, an opportunity or an idea that was going to spark, that was going to make you even more money or give you even more fulfillment, which is more important in my eyes. But because you're so focused on that one goal, you sort of put yourself into a lack mentality because you are so focused, like it becomes like that needy energy, and it's then hard to attract what you actually want. So that's why I'm recommending a solo trip, because it gives you the space to let go, and it gives you the space to really get to know what is going to be important for you. I also find it's been amazing for my confidence as well, like really going deeper. Little things like I got my eyelashes done for Circo Loco, the festival I was going to. And although I loved them, I felt like, being honest, I don't feel like I got them for me because I love myself without lashes. I feel like I got them because I wanted to fit in at the festival, if that makes sense. Like Circo Loco is a festival that it was actually amazing. I did have the best time, but it's easy to fit into like the show of it and feeling like you have to have the perfect outfit and look the perfect way. And I'll be the first person to say when I fall into like my old habits, or when I fall into that sort of pressure. And I definitely felt like if I had lashes, then I would look the part, and, you know, I would fit in with that sort of crowd. And I think it's a hard realization sometimes like the thought of not fitting in sometimes is quite hard, but I've fully accepted that I am on such a different life path to a lot of people. Like, I've done something crazy, like starting a business. You have to be a little bit mental. And if you do want to create a life that is extraordinary, that is out of ordinary, there's going to be situations where you're not going to fit in, and that is okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to like unjustify your feelings. Like, even for me, I know that it was so normal for me to want to fit in these environments, and coming traveling again is scary, especially like being on my own. Of course you want to be liked, and of course you want to like make connections and friendships out here. But what I've realized is the types of people I want to be surrounded myself with maybe aren't in the party hostels and maybe aren't in the festivals, and it's more in like going to like breathwork events like I did at the weekend, and like going to nice coffee shops where other like online business owners are working, and like going to gyms. I want to try Mai Tai, and like just these sorts of environments I know for me are where I'm going to meet people that are benefiting my future and benefiting the type of version of me I want to be. Because there's nothing wrong with the party life, there's nothing wrong with having a good time, and it's something that I've always loved, is going out and like going to festivals and things. But at the same time, there's just been lots of trauma in my life from alcohol and different things. So just the time on my own has allowed me to really reevaluate and just look at different areas of my life that aren't aligning with me. And that's what I urge you to do too, is actually look at the different areas of your life that right now you feel like, actually, I would love to make a change in that area. And if you feel like you're struggling in your environment, get out in nature, get out somewhere where you have space. Like, give yourself the space that you really deserve. And I have got like a letting go meditation, which I'll share here, where you can allow yourself to like let go. And I definitely think it's worth buying a journal if you haven't got one already, and allowing yourself to really journal about what you want to let go of. And it might not come up straight away. Like, I didn't even realize what I really needed to let go of until I started this solo trip and adventure. So it has been such a beautiful journey. Like, I had no idea what to expect with this journey traveling, and I'm now 3 weeks in, which feels absolutely crazy, or just over 3 weeks now. And I have just had so many amazing memories. It was so beautiful, my friend being here for the first 2 weeks. Like, we had an absolute beautiful time. We stayed in lovely places. We traveled around the islands. Like, I also met up with my family who came out here, and they were staying in Krabi, and that was so much fun. And I had a lovely night out with my cousins, and it was just so nice to be with them. And yeah, it's just been an absolute journey so far. I'm so excited about the next chapter though. I'm so excited to record lots more podcast episodes for everyone, and just really go deeper into this journey, go deeper into how you can really create the life of your dreams. Of course, having lots of guests on to benefit everyone. But this podcast is all about you guys, and I just want to share my story. I want to share how I can help you create the life of your dreams. I want to share, the ups and the downs, and that's why I will be honest on this podcast and say things that maybe have been quite hard and I have had to go on a bit of a journey with. But I will always be here to support everyone. And if you ever need any extra support, I have released my Empower Hours, which I've been so excited about in January. And I've just been loving doing the Empower Hours. It's been so nice to speak to girls that are really wanting to build the lives of their dreams. And I know that there's so many things that are constantly getting in the way for people, and it's the comparing yourself, it's the believing that you're not good enough, it is the self-doubt. And I really get it. I really get all of these things. I'm also a girl in her 20s going through this and figuring it all out as I go, and just learning and wanting to be the best version of me. So if you did want to book an Empower Hour, I'll leave the link in the show notes, and I would be honoured to have a beautiful hour with you. But I hope you enjoyed this little introduction into my life in Thailand. I just wanted to sort of share the journey so far and how it's been. And I can't wait to bring you guys all along for the ride on the podcast and on YouTube now, which is amazing. But lots of love. And I hope you all have a lovely day wherever you're listening. And if you are in England, I hope it starts to get a bit warmer. I'm missing you all. If you're listening, friends, family, everyone. And I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 a.m. UK time, so I look forward to seeing you back here. I also have a free higher self meditation course for you to learn to meditate, to relax, to switch off, that's available for you to access now in the show notes. And also don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening, rate, leave us a review. I appreciate it way more than you could ever know. Thank you so much again for listening. If you've got any feedback of the podcast, my Instagram at Yasmin Lily Hilston is also linked in the show notes, and I really appreciate it.